Howdy, howdy, this is TPot on Mordrum. We are here at episode 6. I've got a lovely view of this little island off to the side of my little man-made island, and I want to show you, well, there's a duck. Hello, Mr. Duck, how are you? Duck or chicken or whatever you happen to be. Hello. So, I want to show you what I've got done working over here. Hello, Mr. Coo. Found a cow floating just off one of these islands and thought I'd push him to my island. So we've got a little visitor here. He'll be mooing occasionally. Anyway, to work. I wanted to show y'all what I've done here. I've kind of finished a lot of the hollowing out. So this is a nice open area in here. Got a lot of the ambient light coming in through these little half slabs. Got some wheat growing here. Always nice. I'd like to get a little bit more wheat out of that, actually. But, you know, I've got a nice view of some squid floating about. But I've also got this hole here, and this hole here serves two purposes. One, I didn't want any light levels down here where mobs could spawn. And two, I'm actually going to be using this area for part of our next build. You'll notice something over here. And we've got reeds over here. And so what I'm planning on doing is I'm planning on building some concentric rings down here, and this will be a rudimentary reed farm. So I planted a couple of reeds here because reeds are really nice in providing oxygen. And if I can do this without drowning, there we go. So I'll just keep coming in occasionally to keep from drowning. And that's going a little too slow. Come on. The thing that's difficult with working around here is I've got these downdrafts because we're kind of built with the water flowing downwards because we've gotten rid of a lot of the natural streams, the source blocks. But what I can do is I can swim about, use the wheat to kind of help me with my air, and of course swimming occasionally to the surface. Now what's going to be nice about this is two things. One is it will allow me to have wheat underneath, and two, it'll actually form a rudimentary squid farm because I'll have so many squid swimming through here and then hitting those air pockets and suffocating. That was not what I wanted to do. But now I've got a nice little air pocket. And so now I can continue with my build. This corner over here is the treacherous corner. I've already died in this corner twice, so I've got to be careful because getting my stuff down depends on successful placement of a torch to set up an air pocket. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get up here and say hello to Danny. So we're going to have a rudimentary wheat farm, sugarcane farm. Of course, I'm going to have to grow some sugarcane, and that might take a while. I do have some sugarcane to plant. I'm only going to die a little bit. As you can see, this forested area is working out quite well. Let me show you what I've got over here in my chest from what I've harvested. I've got quite a bit of wood coming from this. Let me go ahead and plant some of this reeds, and then I'll tell you what I've kind of got planned next. So as I mentioned, I'm going to have this be a rudimentary sugarcane farm. But it will be an ersatz squid farm as well, just because the squid will insist on swimming by. Now the reason that this works is because these dirt blocks are actually surrounded, they have contact with a water source immediately next to them. And so each of these are going to grow the reeds fine. They will grow upwards because having a water block above them is not an issue. So there we go. So I've got enough reeds here with air pockets set up so I can reasonably do some navigation down here. But that's going to get us started here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my kit so I don't die. I've been visited by lots of squids, and it is almost nighttime. So I'm actually going to head back to my base and get some things done. So I'll see you in a bit. So we're coming back to our island. One of the things I really like about this island, I'm going to do a little view around here. The thing is, I enjoy seeing the really large oak trees here, and I'm really hoping that they kind of build a large canopy about everything. So I'm trying to get the trees that are, basically up to 7 blocks, which is about what I can break. But anything that's above 7 blocks, I'm leaving it. It's actually making quite a nice canopy over the resource island that I've got here. So I've had some problems with that past couple of times. Let me see if I can get that going. Also, I picked up a couple of different types of saplings. I mean, I don't want just oak. It would be nice to have a variety over here, so we'll see what grows. And if I get more, then that's great. As you can see, I've got quite a bit already. You may also notice I've got some lava in here, and that's kind of leading towards our next island that we're going to be building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be going out a bit. Let's go ahead and say 10 blocks out. And then what I'm going to do on this block here, after I get rid of the rest of this, because I really don't, I don't actually want a path. I want these to be kind of separate and distinct islands. But what I'm going to do is put some lava here. Nope, not there. That's exactly not what I wanted to do. But of course the idea is that when lava spills on top of water, it's going to create a nice little stone over there. So I'm going to need to find a way to retrieve that lava block. And blocks seem the best way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create several of these little things together. Yeah, I really didn't want the obsidian there, but problems with dealing with stuff. So then what I'm going to do is at this corner I'm going to do it again and get out of the way. And of course the idea is that it's going to spread off to these little triangular areas. So this area here is actually going to be my forge. I'm going to be having some furnaces here. I'm also going to put some I will eventually have an obsidian grinder here. I will have a cobblestone generator, some other redstone tools, but I just want a nice solid firmament here. And of course I'm going to have to be careful because now I've got this wonderful area where mobs can spawn. So I'm going to set some lava there. Yeah, I really don't have a problem with who's on the chat while I'm making videos. Sometimes I think the chat's probably one of the funniest parts of what goes on in these videos. And that'll be the last one. And so what I'll do is after all this, I'll just delete this path here. I'm going to set up some torches just because 'tis a bit dark. But I will have a nice obsidian grinder here. We'll have a cobblestone generator and some other things here, just to make living on the seas relatively okay. And as I had before, where I had these nice little paths, this is going to be a nice little, I need to build another dock as well out here in the ocean. So let me go ahead and get some half slabs, and I think I can set the dock over here. There we go. And so now we've got this nice little channel that we can navigate, and navigating that channel is going to be quite a bit of fun, but I've also got a nice little building here, so let's try it out. Just see what's going on. And as I mentioned, I am going to put some different things here, but I think having an actual stone floor here rather than a cobblestone floor gives it much more of a sense of permanence to it. I'm going to have to be careful navigating this pass. So let me take a wide berth around and see if I can make it. Yes, I did make it. Excellent. So now let's go ahead and dock at the forge. Yep, and so we are here. And of course, I've got a good supply of wood here, so I'm not that concerned about what's going on there. So this is going to be where I keep my forge. I think I actually want to put one more lava right there. There we go. And so I've got some pretty well-defined parts of the island. I think one more here would make that as well. There we go. That looks wonderful. So I've got a fairly well-defined island here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and set up a basic floor plan. And once we get that the floor plan set up, then we'll go ahead and start building. So I'm just coming back to town here, to my little place on the server. So if we can shoot this gap. There we go. So what I did is I brought my diamond pick so I can get rid of this little piece here. So now I've got some obsidian. I'm eventually going to need the obsidian to make some type of enchanting table, which would be another island I've got up here. I'll have an island of mystic things, of enchanting and brewing and things like that. But I've got a couple of things I wanted to do here. I've got the setup here for an obsidian grinder. I mean, not an obsidian grinder, a cobblestone grinder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my water here. I'm going to set up some lava here, and when they combine I get some obsidian, some cobblestone. And so this is going to enable me to get some of the resources that I'm short because we are kind of resource limited here. So I'm going to go ahead and set a half slab here just to kind of keep that apart. And I'm eventually going to set up a hopper underneath to automatically collect it. It's going to make life a little bit easier for me. But the other thing I wanted to talk about here, let me go ahead and get rid of this crafting table, is that I will also be putting some ovens in here. So I've got 8 furnaces here. Now remember that we do have protections here, but you don't have an unlimited number. So I'm going to keep creating furnaces here. And I keep saying, you know, create a private furnace. I'm going to put a furnace on top here, a furnace here, a furnace here, and it says you've exceeded your allotted amount of protections. That's one of the plugins that we have here, is that we have a limited number of protections here. If I type C limits, then you can see I've got 10 out of 10 for my default locks. I'm allowed to have 2 chests, and I've already reached that maximum. I've got the one in my home, and then I've got the one here. There's certain amounts of locks that I'm allowed to have, but these furnaces are part of that. So I've got the 2 furnaces I have at home, I've got the 2 chests, and then I've started establishing these furnaces. I was able to put 6 of them down, and that's my 10 locks. So if I put another furnace down, it's going to tell me you've exceeded your amount of protections. Now I really don't care if these are locked, so I'm going to type unlock and right click, and that's going to unlock that furnace. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other 6 that I've got set up here. So now if I do C limits again, notice that I'm only using 4 out of my 10 locks here, but you know, both of my chests are the ones that I've acquired. So what I'm going to do is I've got a couple of other chests over here set up, but these aren't going to be locked, and I'm also going to take some of this wood as well, because we are kind of resource limited here, and I definitely need to fill in this hole before I fall into it. Since we are resource limited here, I'm going to go ahead and start making some charcoal. And so once I've got enough wood burned here to get the charcoal process started, I'm going to go ahead and get that going. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'll take half of this out and put it in here. Take half of this out and put it in here, along with a couple of sticks. Yeah, just enough to get the coal process started. I should have some coal here. I only wanted half of that gone, so I'm going to be a little bit wasteful on that one. So I've got enough set up here with my little charcoal built up, and I'm going to set up a fence behind it. There we go. So I don't need that there. Luckily the water will reset itself. And then of course I'm also going to have so I've got some nice charcoal set up here, just enough to make everything work out. I'm going to put my crafting bench here and start setting up the wall. So this wall will kind of go around. So I've got the basic setup for a resource island here. As I mentioned, I'm going to set up a hopper system underneath to kind of collect the cobblestone in a relatively safe manner so it won't constantly burn. But I'll be back in a bit. Ah, more of this lovely, lovely rain. So I've kind of set up a little bit of a fence around here. I've set up the hopper system underneath my automated system, so now the cobble shouldn't automatically burn. Should fall straight into the hopper system. Hopefully. Most of the time it will. I've got quite a few of it already set up here, so it's working pretty well. I've got my oven system set up here. I've even got a little chest here. This one's not locked, but to keep any resources that I acquire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it for today. The rain's just a bit too much for me today. So once again, this is TPot. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.